Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
That was awful. The Sixers with a pathetic effort against the Mavs. Now, the Mavs are a good road team. They are really solid when it comes to playing away from their arena. But it's still no excuse. I mean, they didn't have Luka Doncic in the mix as well, which plays a big-time role in this game. They got outworked. They got out-rebounded. The Mavs wanted it more. It's just that simple. Then the zone comes into play, and they struggle once again. Now, I did see some different looks when it comes to Embiid coming up higher in the zone and Tobias and Ben Simmons being lower, more towards underneath the basket. I did see some different things, but at the end of the day, it still wasn't good enough. And keep in mind, this team just can't shoot, right? I mean, that's something that is a personnel issue. They cannot shoot the basketball well enough. Some of these looks are wide open. Now, that's what teams do. They take their chances. Understanding the Sixers are bad at shooting, knowing the numbers, knowing the statistics when it comes to them shooting from behind the arc. Go ahead, take it. We don't care. You're probably going to miss anyway. So they're just playing the numbers game, and you can see that it's a problem for the 76ers right now. And one big key quote that Brett Brown said after the game, which perfectly describes this team right now, is, "I feel like our competitive spirit has taken a dent because of our inability to score." So they are lacking in confidence and work ethic because of how pissed off and frustrated they are offensively. It's affecting them on the defensive side of the floor, and that's not an excuse. That can't happen. You need to be stronger. It should be the complete opposite. They should be destroying teams defensively, knowing they are not able to score at a high clip. It's so annoying to watch. With this Sixers team, it's either, phew, all right, they won, or it's an outrage when they lose. It's never fun. This team isn't fun. They just win some games and grind out games sloppily, or we all get irritated and freak out after losses. It's not smooth basketball. And I'm starting to lean towards, as a whole, when you look at the entire league, yes, they are a good team. To say they're not a good team, that's just overreacting and being irritated and pissed off. They're a good team in the sense of the NBA and where they fall in comparison to every team. When it comes to the playoffs and the expectations that the fan base had going into it, they aren't the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm sorry, I watched the Milwaukee Bucks play the Lakers, and I watched the Greek Freak, and I see the ball movement, and I see the way that they play with passion, and they play as a squad. They're not on that level. They're just not on that level. The Sixers are in the mix with the rest of the 3 through 6 seeds right now in the East. They're in the mix with the Pacers, the Heat, the Celtics. That's just what they are. And I'm starting to see it as the games go by. We were told Christmas, we will see what this team is. Well, Christmas is a few days away, and I don't see anything special. I see them being in the mix with the rest of those teams from seeds 3 to 6. Before we talk more about this, though, I just need to let you know how I can give you free money. If you use the promo code BROADS at SeatGeek's checkout page, you get $20 off of your total purchase. So you get to buy tickets to a game, save $20, and that's essentially free parking. Or free beer, free food. It's a no-brainer to use the promo code BROADS today. So for this to happen without Luka Doncic, it's annoying. It really is. I don't know if the Sixers expected to just win and dominate because he's not out there on the floor, but that's silly. That's silly if that's the case, because the Mavericks are a good team. They are beating other really solid squads in this league, and Luka is at the top of the game right now, and he's in the MVP discussion. There's no denying it, but they still have other pieces that can step up when he's not there in the game, and you saw it on display. Now, I talk about the poor shooting from 3 when it comes to the Sixers. They knocked down 10 threes all night long. Tim Hardaway Jr. had 7. Personally. He had 7 himself and dropped 27 points. The Sixers had 10 as a team. Now, keeping it on the stats. You had the Dallas Mavericks shoot almost 52% from the field. It was 51.8. And they shot 42.4% from three. You can't allow a team to shoot that well in a game unless you're matching it. But I'll tell you what, for free, okay? They weren't matching it. I'll tell you that for free. They weren't. So that's not going to work. I hate the way they play defense when things go sour, when things go wrong, and everyone's all freaking out about Brett Brown. Get him out of here. He stinks. This is deeper than Brett Brown. And it's funny. When it comes to Brett, I lean as I am a supporter just because I don't hate him as much as everyone else, because people in the city claim that he's stupid, he knows nothing, get him out of here, he's a joke, he's pathetic. He's not all that, right? So I lean towards being a supporter because I don't hate him as much as those people. I think that he is a good coach. Is he the right coach? That's a different question to ask. I don't know that. There are flaws. But to act like he's a stupid person when it comes to basketball, that's where I draw the line. And that's why I lean towards being more of a supporter, just because I don't despise him like everyone else. My point of it is this. It goes deeper than the head coach. It's not Brett Brown's job to make Ben Simmons shoot. He's come out publicly and said, tell his family, tell his agent, tell everyone, I want 1-3 a game. That tells me as a fan that he's been drilling it into Ben's head. He needs to shoot. He needs to shoot. He needs to shoot. Ben, shoot. Ben, shoot. Ben, shoot. He's not shooting. A new coach comes in here. Ben, shoot. He's not going to shoot. Like, that's on him. I think there is a problem with the players and the personnel right now over a coach. Like, this is a problem when the players are not playing at their best of their ability. It's on them. I blame the players more than I blame anyone else. They are the ones out there running up and down the floor. They are not competing. They are getting worked. They are getting worked by an opposing team. That is on them, for them not competing. This is professional sports. This isn't little Johnny playing basketball at AAU, 7 and under squads where the coach has to fire them up. No one really played well in this game besides Joel Embiid, who had 33 and 17. He was +5. Josh Richardson had one shot at the half, and then he started to shoot more in the second half, but you got to get Josh Richardson more looks. Tobias Harris, now he had an off night. He's put together a remarkable stretch of being aggressive, playing very well, scoring a lot of points, being a leader on this team. We're human beings. They're human beings. There's going to be a day where he has a bad game, and this is one of them. But he was -28. It was an off night for Tobias Harris. -28. Couldn't find the shot from deep. The bench was poor. Matisse, -21 in 14 minutes. Now, there was one interesting stat that I saw on NBC Sports Philadelphia when it came to Matisse Thybulle. He has 40 steals and 20 blocks so far this season, and there were a list of other players so far this season that has that. They're all starters, and they're also all studs in this league, but they're all starters. It's crazy to think those guys were logging in 30-plus minutes a night, and then you look at Matisse, who's coming off the bench, playing significantly less minutes. It's really impressive. But in this game, as I mentioned how impressive he has been, he was -21 in 14 minutes. So it's just flat out not good at the end of the day. The bench wasn't solid. James Ennis was also a heavy minus. And I watched Porzingis grab 18 boards, 22 points, and I specifically went to the boards because when the Sixers get out-rebounded, they are 1-6. They got out-rebounded again. Now, the zone is a reason why that happens because of the long rebounds and the way that the Sixers are out by the perimeter and whatnot, but I've seen this team succeed. It's very similar with the Eagles. When they run the ball, they win. Believe it or not, run the damn football, Doug, right? We scream it all the time. That's something that you can statistically look at over time with this team so far this season. Good wins come when the Eagles run the ball. Well, good wins come when the Eagles out-rebound teams, and that's an effort thing, and it goes back to saying they didn't have the effort, they weren't willing to compete, and an opposing squad came into the Wells Fargo Center and worked harder than them. And that's unacceptable. It was a stinker. Now we're talking 3 losses in a row. 2 straight home losses. And oh, by the way, it's a back-to-back situation, and they have to play Washington. Keep in mind the last time the Sixers played Washington. I'll remind you, it wasn't pretty. The team looks lost right now. They don't know what their identity is. The zone is throwing them in for a loop. That's right, the college zone is throwing them out of the game mentally. I don't know if they just don't feel confident shooting the ball because they know that they're not good at shooting. I don't know what it is, but they see the zone and things start to suffer. And then it starts to suffer defensively because they're all frustrated offensively. And it's terrible. It's terrible. Now Ben Simmons, he's frustrating once again. And I go back to me watching the Milwaukee Bucks game against the Lakers, and that's not the only Bucks game I've caught this season. I've kept my eye on all these squads. I've watched the Bucks play multiple times, and I know what they're all about. I watched the Greek Freak dominate. I really do. And you can put it in comparison that he's in year, 7? And through the first 3-4 years of his career, he was nowhere near where he is now. And I get that. You're right. It did take the Greek Freak a long time to develop. But you saw improvement every single year at his game offensively. I will never question Ben's defense when it comes to what he can provide, because I think we all know that. But the big thing is, it is affecting this team offensively. It still is affecting this team offensively, and he does the same thing, and he hits a three-pointer and takes 15 games off. Then he hits a three-pointer and he takes 15 games off. That doesn't do anything for us. The 2 3-pointers so far, it's not doing anything for us. The mid-range jumper, which mid-range jumper? Exactly. He hasn't even added that. I see his upside, but I continue to watch this. Then he gets to the free throw line. No improvement. If anything, he almost took a step backwards this year with the free throws. So when everyone wants to compare the Greek Freak's timetable to Ben Simmons' timetable, I understand where you're coming from, but you do need to realize that you saw improvement every single year out of the Greek Freak. He wasn't a good three-pointer. He was still taking them, willing to take them. And then he hits 5 against the Lakers. Ben's taken 2 this year with 35 games in between each one. Now, obviously, I say that sarcastically, but you get my point. I love the kid. I do. I see it. I see the future. I see how bright it can be. I see what he can be, what he can develop into. It's just taking a long time. I wonder if, and I was just curious when listening to the broadcast, because I hear the boos rain down. I hear the fan base screaming, freaking out, and I get it. I totally get it. The team deserves to be booed. Does the boo lose power at any point? The boos after all the timeouts, coming down harshly and coming down over the last couple games. At some point, does the boo run dry? Is there more power to the boo if, say, you heard it, I don't know. It's so hard to really say how effective it'll be if you hear it more. My point is, what I'm trying to say here is, as I'm jumbling my words, if you heard the boo once a week, when you hear it, you're shocked, you're stunned. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, those are powerful boos. If you hear the boo after every timeout in 4 straight games, what does the boo do? Is it still effective? Or are they just numb to it? Those stupid fans again as they're sitting on the bench. Now, I'm not saying it was wrong to scream and freak out and get on the players because they gave you that type of effort. They deserve it because of the way they played. I totally understand. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm questioning. If you boo too much, will it even be effective? Will it do its job? Well, I hope it does its job because something has to happen. They need to get their head out of their asses. It starts with Brett. You can see that he's a little confused on how the team lost its mojo like this. He was even asked about it, not that specifically, but in that area, the question was asked, and he's like, yeah, I'm a little shocked. I'm a little shocked with where we are right now with it, because the zone got thrown at them, and instantly everything just changed. They lost their confidence. and it affected how they played. And once again, I go back to, I think some of these shots are open, and then the players have to knock them down. There are times where it's a wide open look. It's a wide open three. It goes on these professional basketball players to knock down some of these shots at the same time. Now, there are times where they don't attack the zone properly and it's a bad shot where they force something because they're not getting enough movement or they're not getting the ball in the proper spots. Absolutely. But there are also times where it goes on the player for not knocking down the shot. I don't know what to expect moving forward with this team because they're just very frustrating. It sucks if this is foreshadowing Dallas week. You know, this is a big week for the Eagles. It's Dallas week. We're fighting for the playoff lives. You have the Dallas Mavericks coming to town and they beat you on your home floor. I really hope this isn't telling. I really hope this isn't a step in the wrong direction for the sports town of Philadelphia here, entering one of the biggest games the Eagles have. It is the biggest game the Eagles had all season long. So what do we do from here? The Philadelphia 76ers will continue to see the zone. Now, I wonder if when they play bad teams, the Wizards, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the bad teams in this league, will they throw the zone out at them? Because it is true when I say this. There are some teams that play the zone better than others. You can put your team in a zone, and it doesn't mean it will be effective if you don't have good personnel to actually make it happen or to execute it. So if a really awful team with bad personnel tries to throw out the zone, will that work against the Sixers? Or will they have the firepower to be able to break it? Because Joel Embiid is on another level compared to what the opponent has. Or because Ben Simmons is in aggressive mode that night. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. I'm asking questions. I'm trying to figure this out just like everybody else. Will the Sixers see zone against every single team they play? If I'm an opponent and I'm watching film and I see how the Sixers play, I don't care who's on my team. I'm putting the zone out there. Maybe not the whole time, but I'll throw it in. I'll throw it at them because it's obvious that they can't figure it out. They are definitely, and I mean 100%, going to see this in the playoffs without a doubt. So that's why this is very big for me and very crucial to see this team grow when it comes to beating the zone, because it's just a no-brainer that squads are going to use this against them in meaningful minutes, in playoff moments, down the stretch in games, and they're going to force this team to shoot. Now, you can look at Elton Brand and say, yo, Elton, we got to make a move, and I'm not talking about trade Ben Simmons, trade Joel Embiid, get Tobias out of here, get Al Horford out of here, he stinks. No, I'm not saying anything to that degree, but we got to find a way to get a shooter on the team. We need to find a way. I knew losing JJ would hurt. Now, when getting Josh Richardson, I thought his defense, which was way better than JJ's defense, would pick up for the loss of JJ's shooting, because Josh isn't as sharp shooter. He's not as talented when it comes to sharp shooting as JJ Redick, but he can still deliver and knock down threes. So I just thought his defense would make up for the loss of shooting from JJ Redick, and it's possible, but as a team, they completely lost a legit threat, and it's tough to watch. Brick, 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 brick. No rebound. Fast break the other way. Beat down the floor. Not working hard enough to get back. Watching the other team penetrate. Watching the other team get to the rack. And one. Foul on the Sixers. Boos rain down. It's what I felt like I watched for 48 minutes. I actually did one of these where I started to nod off and, you know, the eyes started to shut and I would jump right before halftime. That's what they were doing to me. Even though I know they made a little bit of a run because they were turning the ball over. The Mavs turned the ball over a couple times. It allowed the Sixers to somewhat force a little bit of offense. But at the end of the day, that stopped. I mean, that stopped. So there we have it. Another frustrating one, and they don't have time to let this one sink in, if you will. They don't have time to regroup, is what I really was trying to get at there. They don't have the time to regroup, to settle down, to process things. No. Here's the Washington Wizards. the team that you should demolish, but the last time you played, you didn't. It's a test. Yeah, I know that sounds silly, but it is a test. Let me know what you think down below. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and I will see you next time.